narrative hook, or just hook, is a literary technique in opening of a story that hooks the reader's attention so that they will keep on reading. That is how Wikipedia defines the topic of this video. But ain't nobody gonna learn from some definition. Let's look at some examples. Dungeon Meshi executes its main concept of dungeon food to the utmost through a variety of creative, wild writing choices. One such, and the first moment that really sold me on the concept, was the nature of the living armor. It's a trope seen everywhere in media, the magically controlled suits of armor that have no real flesh to them. Here, that's how they are initially portrayed, puppets of some mage. Except the series subverts our expectations and actually builds them up to be living creatures, a colony of mollusks to be exact. They bond with each other in the armor and form a structure that allows them to move like humans. And that's when I realized that this story is different. The novelty in this idea is bonkers. It's so weird and out there, yet the execution proves the concept's strength. It's not just a gimmick, it's a fully fleshed out part of this world that makes sense within its boundaries. I was completely sold from this point on. Iwashi's hook, for me, was just the entire first chapter. Let me glaze this manga real quick. Ashi and Fukuda are characterized so well. How Ashi is depicted as a selfish striker who loves the sports, and how his family situations with poverty perfectly sets up his arc for the rest of the story. The intrigue I felt toward Fukuda is astoundingly high. He just got aura, bro. Plus this crazed energy I really found interesting. The chapter also sets up the major themes of ambition, teamwork, and love, both familial and passion. It's easily one of the best pilot chapters ever, and yeah, it hit the shit out of me. If you haven't read out Ashi, I promise you, it won't take long for you to lock in. Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun is one of my personal favorite ongoing manga, but the initial part that really captivated me was Iruma himself. He's initially portrayed as this cowardly pushover. He just can't say no, and because of this, he agrees to being sold off to a demon by his shitty parent. The demon is actually chill and sends him to demon school, where he kind of just wanders in the pursuit of nothing, just trying to have some fun times. But that's not the message the story tries to convey. In a nutshell, you ain't really living unless you have ambition, unless you have some goal to work towards. And this culminates into Iruma locking in. See, he sets his sights on ranking up, basically progressing his status in this world, through practicing for his rank exam, which just so happens to be dodgeball and crack. He practices and polishes, to the point where he seems like he's at his wits' ends, and then that is the exact panel that hooked me. Ambition and having a goal is hellish. It's challenging, it's hard, and most of all, it's exciting. It's so satisfying to see this character grow into someone who gains the ability to want. And I was elated to keep reading to find out just how good his arc will be. We covered some fantasy, some sports, so let's look at some romance. The Fragrant Flowers Bloom with Dignity has its narrative focus on these two characters, Rentaro and Karuko, and how their relationship progresses. I think that's the most important thing I need to get sold on, and let me tell you, it didn't take long. Firstly, I gotta lay down some context. The two attend different high schools, both side by side. Ironically enough, the schools are polar opposite. Kikyo Private Academy is an all-girls school for the prestigious elite, while Chidori is a public school filled with absolute scrubs. This makes it kinda difficult for these two to meet in public, and just be acquainted with each other in general. This could be seen in the second chapter, where Karuko's simple act of waiting for Rentaro causes an uproar that leads to their respective friends scorning one another. Where the hook comes in is how Rentaro actually fucks up. He focuses on her attendance to Kikyo, not in a sort of fuck the elites way, but because associating with him will lead to bad shit, like the shit that's happened before. Where he fucks up is not realizing that she doesn't give a fuck. She doesn't care about those extraneous concepts. She just wants to know him better. And that's the moment it all clicked for me. One, the manga allows its characters to make mistakes, even its main characters, which humanizes them. Rentaro's narrow-mindedness comes from a good place, but it ultimately hurts her. And then he apologizes, and then Karuko forgives him. It's super simple, yet it's very organic. And two, it sets up a lot of things for the future of the manga. Karuko's morals and her willingness to go against the norm. It shows Rentaro's oftentimes self-deprecating kindness. It builds on the feud between the two schools, adding on to this judgmental classism theme. And these two are just adorable together. Yeah, I was 100% on board with this manga and its main characters after this moment. Lastly, I want to look at a manga which might cause some contention, and that is One Piece. There's a lot of moments you could say hooked you here, but for me, it was during the Bearty arc. It was Mihawk versus Zoro. I love this fight for a number of reasons. Mihawk has so much aura. His intro panel gives me some Kurapika flashbacks. His design is so drippy, his cloak looks fire, and he somehow makes that raggedy cowboy hat work. He has that shit on. His lines are also cold as hell. Without subtlety, a sword is but an iron bar. Like, that's a fucking bar. But of course, the moment that really got me was Zoro's ambition shining through in his bravado. The motherfucker's spirit just came through the panel into my goddamn heart. This was the start of Zoro's arc for me. Just such an inspiring moment. That was the point I realized just how character driven the manga was going to be. And like I said before, there are a lot of moments you could say for One Piece that hooked you. So if your answer different from mine, let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, let me know if you guys want to see a sequel to this video, or maybe something related to this. I have an idea in my head that's sort of like a sequel, but not a direct copy. If you guys want to see that, leave a like and all that. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Peace.